Hello everyone and welcome to the final game of the Dune tournament for Ironside in Combat Heroes 2. With the two victors from the previous games now playing 1v1 against each other to see who is the final victor. You have Alucard, who has picked the Wehrmacht straight out the gate with no commander. And representing the allies, we have Muro, the United States, also not without a commander, but went for another re-echelon immediately. So these two have been teammates throughout the entire tournament, I believe, and now they have to face each other in a 1v1 to determine who is the actual big victor here of the Dune tournament. It's probably also just a fun finish between the two. They probably had a lot of fun playing through the tournament. We'll see how it goes. United States versus Wehrmacht, so we'll see what happens. They sort of now encounter with the Pioneers here in the center. Pioneers trying to do their best to keep the re-echelon at bay. The re-echelon is slowly expanding out to get some grounds. In the 1v1, they're not expanding out as fast as in a 2v2, clearly, as they need to be a little bit more cautious with their movements, especially on a map like Feymonville. This is the Feymonville Major League version, I believe. I don't know what's different about it compared to the normal version. Probably something around the gear would cover and such, I'm not really sure. Anyway, we have a lot of Pioneers and folks coming out here for Alucard. The low command choice, though. We also have a Jeep here arriving for the United States early. Try and get some ground. So provide some mobile supportive fire. As the long firefights continue here. But this Jeep could be targeted down by all these accurate rifles. What's going to also secure some more ground here while this is going on. But the Americans are securing the northern flank. The Realism is keeping a lot of Germans at bay. But we do see a tech up here for the Barakken now. Because they're not going to rely on just Folks Grenadiers anymore. You see some rifles actually hit the Deep. Who have been on the flank here, that could be bad for these Folks Grenadiers. And they realize they're trying to pull back. Got some suggestions on the flank, but invade to the base. And the Jeep keeps advancing. Oh, not looking good here for Alucard. The Jeep is a little bit too survivable, I think, even at range. Like, I feel sometimes too hard to kill the gunner when it really shouldn't be. Like, I feel the Jeeps are, in the cool ones, just too efficient for their cost, personally. Far too efficient for their costs. It should not be a vehicle you can just stand out in the open with, especially at range. We have a good long firefight going on here. The Germans are slowly losing it, I reckon. They really need to see if they can just get a lucky shot on that gunner.
Heavy machine gun team ready for orders.
The Germans have to pull back more troops. They do have an MG coming out. Maybe an MT-44. Gonna finally killed there. That's gonna give the Germans a little bit of an opening. Do manage to get that rifleman squad out thanks to the smoke raid. Do have 30 caliber arriving as well. There's no command choice from either player. They're being a little bit cautious, which they should be. You know, the Germans are sending out troops again to try and get grounds. In an aggressive early game here. But the Americans have the upper hand territory-wise. 30 caliber set up successfully. MT-44 sitting up back here. More 30 calibers flying for the United States. They're going for a very heavy machine gun play here. The Americans can be pretty decent machine gun play, but I do feel the Germans are the best at doing it. The Germans rely a lot on their machine guns to be effective. They have a little bit of a minefield laid down here on the flank. Actually not a minefield, just a single mine. Did they lay a mine? I don't see anything. Keep this ready to move it again. I really do feel the light vehicles are far too efficient. Because this thing should not be armored at all, and the gun is quite visible out in the open, you know. We have a slight light AT gun coming out here for the Germans. Probably to help deal with that Jeep and other light vehicles that might show up. Little Pack 36. The Jeep can also decap the territory, as you can see, so it's a very good little harasser. Being behind the enemy line. Medical upgrade has been done in the Baracken, so the Germans can be healed up back at the base. Germans are suffering territory-wise by a fair amount. But you can actually full uncapped territory. Good to know. Medical prevents the Volksministers from moving up. Germans certainly on the back foot territory-wise right now. Slowly bleeding victory points. Now to be Escalating in position. Keep quickly on the move. We're taking some big shots there. You have a Panzerbuchse as well to help deal with that little pesky jeep. You also have a tech up for the... no, that's not a tech, that's another MG44. Very low tech game at the moment. Americans are taking up though slowly. Critical caliber causing issues again. Hitting the Pack 36.
MG42 team is ready for action.
Pesky jeep moving up. Very quickly spot the Panzerbuchse. Which got a good shot there. That's what it needs to be doing. They have to do a pretty decent job with the Panzerbuchse, just dealing with infantry actually. It is just a very big rifle, so... But what are the Germans going to do from here? There's no Americans out here to stop them taking the fuel point finally. But I don't think the Germans know that. But the Americans certainly have the upper hand now for now. They're actually taking up again. They're going for better equipment. Fuel point is going to fall into German hands now. We have a nice little bit of silence between the fighting now.
Frag grenades now available for action.
Take up for the Germans. We might see the twos are similar. And Alpha is going to be arriving on the fields. Pack 36 took some shots there. Critical caliber on an open flank, preventing the Germans from advancing.
We have a new sniper under our command.
Still no command chest from either side. There's a minefield at this point though. Americans have some anti-personal mines. Too big push from the United States here. Meant to throw a grenade there. But the MGs have been able to be maneuvered away. So the Americans are going to take heavy losses here. Because Germans squads are all in a position where they can cover each other. Yeah, the Americans have to pull back after that. At least they didn't lose much, but a rear echelon, I think. Oh, and looks like Alucard has gone for commander. They picked Ostdivision. An intriguing choice here on the Western Front. And now they discover the minefields. We do have a Lieutenant being called in here quickly. Oversee the front line against the Amerikaner. But Ostdivision. A very intriguing choice. I wonder what Alucard is planning with that. Americans on the move now. MD-34 is already pointed here, able to take out the gunner. So being calling here in the center might be smoke. Yeah, it's smoke. A little bit of lag. Oh, the BR is getting some good shots on the MD-34 team. Nice to clear them out. There's no command choice from the Americans. And that's going to be a deadly echelon. Americans are suffering some heavy infantry losses here. The German infantry can support each other, but the Germans are just bleeding victory points right now. It'll be very hard to turn that around. And it might not be if they can get to just 2 of the points. On such a small map, you never know. You have a Panzer IV F1 being called in. You get the Germans some kind of armored fort. Keeps on the move, but there is double Panzerbüchse. And that's going to delay the Germans a little bit more. That team is actually being a very pesky little lad. And Muro knows to sit with Sust. I guess Muro realizes. But what's an American counterpick to Ost? Ost can do a little bit of everything, to be honest. They are airdropping in some more weapons here, which is another thing Ost can do. Dropping in a pack and an MT-44. And yeah, that airdrop should basically confirm it's Ost, to be honest. Basically, some emergency weapon recalled in. F1 quickly on the move. I wonder what the Americans will do to counterpick. They have gone. They are getting a Sherman now. So the F1 is going straight for the 30 caliber. 30 caliber is ordered to hold fire. The F1 is on the move. The Americans are lacking in AT equipment. They do have one tank on the squad arriving, but it's going to be a little bit late. Oh, there we go. They spotted the 30 caliber. Oh, good high explosive. That's a 30 caliber team. And Germans are now full on assaulting down here. But Bazooka gets a good side shot there on the F1. It's going to force it off. You'll see some squads that actually deal with the minesweepers over there, or with the mines rather. But the Sherman's now arriving. Explosives being loaded. A good shot there on the Pathfinders, or the Pioneers. With a pack back here they can recruit. Pack 26 trying to get a cheeky shot over here. Jeep again being an issue down here. The Germans need to reman their equipment. They can quickly man this pack though. There we go, they got the gunner. Good to see. Ooh, the Sherman's just going to be a big problem here, but the Pack 40 has been manned. It's advancing quite aggressively. But then it gets hit by a Pack 40. Realizing it might be in a bit of trouble now. Folks Gladiators do a pretty decent job of this concern. Half-class also bring up to get some extra fire in. Half-class are fairly accurate with their rifles. I guess you have to be if you're a recon team. Now there's no American machine gun over here to stop them. Another Sherman is being prepared quickly. With no command choice from Muro. F1 is almost repaired fully. Deep again on the move. With the center victory point now in German hands, they will stop the bleed of victory points somewhat. Laying out some mines here, but Deep could be in trouble. Because there's still a machine gun and everything over here.
Reinforcements complete.
Pioneers will work on clearing out these mines. They have stopped the bleeding of victory points now. And Moro has gone for the first infantry division, so the big red one. The US Rifle Company. Should be interesting. Oster against Rifle. So no real heavy armor from either side. Well, I guess Oster can't get the elephant, but see how that turns out. Quickly getting an artillery strike going in to try and delay. What's smoke rush? Good shot from the pack there. But the Shermans are going to start opening fire. And infantry is nearby to cover for the Germans. Germans do have more packs arriving though. Can they arrive at the front fast enough? The Shermans just laying down so much firepower. Germans still advancing. Man, that little 36 is actually doing a good job penetrating. Not doing a lot of damage, mind you, but it is penetrating. Which honestly still surprised me that team is finally taken out, at least for a while. And that's gonna be the position you really cannot take it back, I think. Pack missed. What else coming out from Muro here? Is it gonna be the 60mm or the 80mm, I reckon? It's the 60mm! Yay! I love to see the 60mm mortar. This thing is just such a good little piece of equipment. If you can place it like very close to the front where it's safe, it'll just start bombing on its own. Such a good little weapon. Pack is doing its job though. We do have a Hetzer coming out here for the Germans. Try and help deal with the incoming armor. Here we go, here's the 60mm mortar. He quickly being on site to do a barrage. It does do its barrage very quickly. The explosions aren't big, but that's not really the point. It's just meant to be pressure. It's also very cheap, so just keep doing it. And now the Shermans spring into action immediately. High explosive hits the stone wall. Pack is still operational. German infantry is now moving out again, but they are very blobbed up. Need to spread out quickly. Especially with the Sherman around. Smoke canister is being dropped here. Grenade being tossed. About the landing in return. And lots of action going on here. And these players know what they're doing. A lot of people are dying on both sides. Good job there from the pack again. Doing great now being called in, so the Americans are switching over to some cheaper infantry to fill the field. F1 and Hetzer on the move. We need to see if the Hetzer will prove useful today. I do like the Hetzer. It's a cool little vehicle. Based on the Czech Panzer 38T, I believe. He's completely destroyed. Artillery going in on the 3-inch gun. Shim moving up to stop the F1. It needs to be cautious. There's a 3-inch. So good penetration there. Actually jammed the turret. It needs to be careful though. The 3-inch can't see it. Oh, that's an over penetration. Hetzer needs to back off. Needs to back off and repair. There we go. Good to see. Want to see that Hetzer being destroyed so early. Germans moving for the victory point on here again. We have minesweepers on them, so they can definitely do that easily. Like, Sherman moving up again for a high explosive. Doing a decent job. The light mortar's doing its work as well. We also have a pack howitzer coming out soon. So no officers on the field for the United States though. Oh, they have no. Oh yeah, these repair teams are only for the base buildings, not the vehicles. I think so. Yeah, only crude weapons and buildings. So they need some actual repairs in these things. But Sherman's gonna try and push in again. American infantry following up behind. Smoke canisters being fired. It's a smoke mortars. Big American push here. Sherman's just gonna start pushing through. Moving down one of the 80 machine gun teams. All the use of smoke is just really good here at the moment. Packs are not having a lot of luck here. Heading for the frontal plates of the Shermans. Need to get these pioneers on the repairs though. Or getting an open blitz out with a repair station would also be useful. It's because, Alucard, it's because this thing only repairs buildings and crude weapons. It does not repair vehicles. Like if you read the description, it says only crude weapons and buildings. You need to get the repair teams from the next tier building to get repairs for your tanks, vehicles. I know you probably don't pay attention to that because you're in the middle of a fight. You are probably focused on a lot of other things. That's why. At least the heads can be quickly repaired by the pioneers. Lots of smoke being used here by the Americans. And Yellow's push up, throwing more grenades. Lots of pineapples being tossed here. Hetzer is ready for action again. The Germans are lacking in munitions. They've not had an munitions point for basically the entire game. And this is still an MT-44 too. F1 moving into as they want to deny that machine gun. And they do. Sherman pushing up again. No penetration this time from the Hetzer. A lot of back and forth here, but the Americans are still just slowly bleeding out the Germans. By way of victory points. And also artillery. So it's the pack outs, it's over here. Americans moving up again. Sherman's on the move. F1 is being penetrated. Putting a heat round there from the pack. One Sherman out. Both Shermans out. See, that's an advantage now for the Germans. You just need to capitalize on it. Oh god, they're still got a Panther term. Oh god, if they have a Panther term down here, that's gonna be really, really difficult for Maru to get through. F1 down. Begins to get a good shot in. But the light mortars now doing their work. There's actually two 60mm mortars now. Applying constant pressure. Germans are really investing a lot in putting up the Panther term. Oh, Hetzer can be spotted by the 3-inch. Panther term is up though. Oh god. Hits the backs off a little bit. Germans are finally sending some troops to secure the southern points. They lost half their victory points, but the Germans can still turn this around, I reckon. And so can the Americans. We are seeing a Sherman 76 being prepared. Captain moving down here to stop the pioneers from their attempts. We'll soon realize it's a panther term down here. And these pioneers are not going to be able to have a firefight with this captain when the captain has a 30 caliber machine gun. Even if the panther term tries to support, it's only firing AP rounds. The Hetz is trying to do his best. And there's no anti-infantry capabilities there. Lots of just shells landing on the German side here from the Americans.
A fresh mortar crew has arrived.
Volkswagen is doing their best, but there's just so much pressure being applied to them at the moment. Germans are not even taking up, are they? I don't think so. They are getting a mortar for counter barraging. Probably a good call. Oh, here's a machine gun. I guess gotta get an MG-34 inside the panther term. That makes sense. That'll make it much harder to get rid of them. Looks like the blue and gray are gonna try and get close though for grenades. Throwing a pineapple there. Only killing one of them though. Germans need to send some more troops down there. Some of the Volksgrenadiers are here quickly heading southwards. Americans do have their 76 Sherman now. Second 76 is being prepared. The Germans just under so much fire constantly, I think. Hetzer's doing his best still, but it's just a Hetzer. Despite this, it's done a lot of work just being a deterrent. This captain's just not caring about this panther term. More pioneers heading southwards. It looks like the counter mortars are quickly at work. Trying to fight back. Leutnant also remaining on the front line. Another MT-34 moving around. And he's trying to get into the point. Pretty caliber is too focused here, but he might soon switch their targets. Also smoking into the center's demo charge there, actually. Planted by the Americans. I don't see that. Germans are slowly advancing. Come on, a few more shots there. That pack is not going to last long on all this fire, but it's going to be able to be dragged off slowly. Will the Hetzer be able to save it? Germans still able to take the southern points. There's a machine gun inside the panther term now, though. Just quickly getting to work. So the counter mortar is still trying to do its best. But the pack house is still it's just out of range, I imagine. And the MT-34 rushes to the front line. Able to play out this mortar team. Germans pushing up again. It's slowly creeping up. It doesn't know there's a demo charge there. And also the freeze can just penetrate. Force the heads to back off. The Germans turn this around because these Germans are just still slowly creeping forwards. Not sure what the pack is doing, it's not firing. They're loading. Oh, high explosive hits them. Misses. Remember, when you are pinned or suppressed, you are less accurate. More American infantry pushing up, this is just the officers actually. But they are infantry officers, so they're actually pretty good at fighting. Sherman's also advancing now. Also the Americans going all in. There's also the demo charge in the center here, that's gonna blow up that Folkestone. Or Folkestone, yeah, I mean. So they once used a normal barrage first. That did destroy the booby trap by the looks of it. Oh, heads us down. Not looking good now. I think the Germans might be over. I think they might just have gotten overrun. Not looking good here. Yep, Alucard calls the GG. Amuro is the winner of the Dune tournament in total. I hope you'll enjoy the Dune tournament. I'll see you all in the future for other normal casts. Bye bye, everyone.